wondering. Take Back Your Life with Dr. Marissa Fay on ubnradio.com.
And welcome. You are tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa every Tuesday at naturally high noon on Universal Broadcasting Network out of the Sunset Gower Studios in Hollywood, California, and every Thursday on my syndicated CNBC News Radio channel KCAA AM 1050 out of Loma Linda. And you are listening to a show about hope and how to be happy 88% of the time. So there's no gossip, no scandal, and no K words, no Kardashian talk. I don't care what happened to who, dating what, and how. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. And I do my peace shout outs first thing in the show. So first of all, thank you to my 34,000 new YouTube views this year. Just hit another record. So thank you to all my listeners for that. We'll do and a special little shout out to my new 91-year-old friend that I met at Target yesterday, who actually has such a zest for living, and I told him that I would mention him on the air. And also James, who provided excellent customer service to me from Verizon online. So listen for your name, and all those fabulous new likers, those who gave me a finger on my Facebook, Dr. Marissa. If you're not a friend of mine yet, do become one, and that way you can stay in touch with me all week long between shows. And if you don't know who's coming on for the next couple of shows, please do check out my calendar at forbalance.org, and I'll give you a sneak little shout. Tune in. Keiko Matsui, I'm so excited to have her. I'm speechless, is confirmed for December 1st. And she, for those of you who are jazz lovers, and I know that you're out there, I get lots of messages from them because they follow me and they actually meet me at the Long Beach Jazz Festival or the Playboy Jazz Festival. Hi, Margie. And all of you need to tune in that day because she is a phenomenal #1 jazz artist through the years. She's incredibly not just talented musically, but her message and what she does through music is important. So that's a December 1st show, as well as I'm having the 11-time cover of Men's Health Fitness, Owen McKibben, on. So it's really good that we have cameras in the studio. You can see that he still looks really good. And there's a funny picture of the two of us together. He's like, but you'll have to come and see that. And he'll be on the third week in October, as well as the final week in October for our sexual healing. It will be Davie Ward, popular by demand. She's the one that told us all that there's 11 different kinds of orgasms that women can have. So she'll be on for sexual healing the last week of October while I'm in Australia teaching and enjoying also a cruise out there. I'm really grateful that I get to pre-record, but I'll be there. And of course, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'm sure I'll be doing some posts of that. As well, we're having back retired Professor and Mary Ann. Yes, Dawn Wells, the beautiful Dawn Wells. Mary Ann from Gilligan's Island will be back on as well on my first week in October show. And she will first week in November show. She'll be my guest then. So please do tune in. Lots of great guests as usual on Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa. And today is a special day too. It is marking the anniversary of the Seal Beach Salon shooting, which happened in my hometown, October the 12th, 2011. And by a coincidence, I happened to be in the library that day. In fact, I didn't want to be in the library, but circumstances brought me back not once, but 4 times back there where the families were sequestered, waiting to hear about their loved ones who were shot in the salon. Meritage, and it was a very, very difficult time. And I wrote an article that got published in the Orange County Register just talking not about the case, but just about the pain and what it's like to sit with pain through loss and tragedy. And the news covered it. And, we were also in the community really determined not to have this focus on the darkness and, how could this happen, and the tragedy side, but the healing side. And so I continue to do my work in grief counseling, which I wasn't actually prepared for. My PhD is not in clinical psychology, but organizational psychology. But the circumstances have now been where I am being asked to talk about healing from tragedy and healing from loss. And so my life balance coaching process does cover that. So I thought to mark this time, the 4th year anniversary, was to bring on a client who actually was a caller, I guess a year or two ago when I first started doing call-ins, and she called in. She's a friend from the gym, and she has gone through a lot of loss. She's lost a mother, a husband, and most recently a daughter in less than a year and a half, I believe. And also sister. Yes. We were reminded she actually called in about that 3 years ago. Yes. So without further ado, I wanted to bring Vanessa Parker on the air with me to do a coaching session to see if there are some tools, and also to process through the pain, which is so necessary to heal. We cannot repress it. We cannot not talk about it, but we don't want to get stuck in it. So I thought we would use today's show to do that. So without further ado, Vanessa, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure to have you. So let's take a deep breath. And feet on the ground, palms up, and gently close your eyes and take a deep breath in through your nose and release through the mouth. Soft shoulders, soft elbows, soft knees. Good. And then in again, connecting with me through chi, eternal energy. And one more time. In and release. And when you're ready, open your eyes. So let's start with your sister. You lost your sister 3 years ago.
Yes, my sister died of cervical cancer 3 years ago.
And I remember you calling in about that, and yes. It was tough on your family.
It was extremely tough because my sister, she didn't tell everybody how far diagnosed she was. Mm-hmm. She confided in me. Yeah. And at the time, my husband was already diagnosed also.
And he was diagnosed with?
Colon cancer. In 2008.
Okay.
So when she came to me, I guess she felt that I could understand.
Sure.
But she told no one else in the family.
Okay.
She told them that she was at stage 1.
Oh.
But she was really at stage 4.
Okay. So then she passed on 3 years ago.
3 years in June. Mm-hmm.
And then your husband had colon cancer for how long?
He had it since 2008.
Okay.
So he had several surgeries.
And went through chemo, radiation.
Remission. Yes.
And how long were you married?
34 years.
34 years.
I met my husband when I was 15.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. And you didn't marry him at 15?
No. We married in August.
There's some laws against that, I think.
No. We graduated from high school together, and we had our daughter. And I married him in August 9th of 1980.
Oh, day before my birthday. Yeah, August 10th. Mm-hmm. And so you had 30-some wonderful years together. Yeah.
Since 73, so
long time.
40.
Long time.
Yeah, almost my entire life.
The colon cancer must have been tough.
It was, but he was quite a survivor. Mm-hmm. He went to work, he came home. He lived not a cancer life. Mm-hmm. His life seemed to be pretty stable. Okay. Till the end.
Yeah. And the end was tough.
It became aggressive.
Uh-huh. And he stayed at home, or you were in another hospital, or?
No, that's the thing about it, is he got diagnosed, had the colon surgery, came home, recovered, and went back to work.
Oh, wow.
And then he continued his treatment, and then he got a spot on his liver. And he went into USC Norris Medical Center and had surgery. That man had that liver surgery. The liver also grows back within 3 months. 3 or 4 months. I didn't know that. Yeah, the liver does grow back. He recovered. He went back to work. And he was okay. I won't say fine, perfect, but he was okay. He was living somewhat of a normal life. He wasn't bedridden or hospital bound or anything like that.
Right.
So everything seemed good.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas came, Christmas left. And then I got a call from him, and he says, it's back.
He had gone to the doctor?
He never left the doctor.
Oh, okay.
He always stayed in constant contact.
Okay.
Yeah, because you have to get your blood work.
Right.
To make sure that everything. That's how he, I think, I don't know. I can't say that's how he stayed so healthy. But he always knew what was going on in his body.
Okay. And he always told you what was going on. Okay.
So it came back. It came back very, very tiny. And so that's when they sent him up to USC Norris again. And we seen a specialist up there. And so he went through another procedure where they go through the groin and radiate the spot. Exact.
Okay.
So we thought that was going to work.
Right.
Because they didn't want to go invasive again.
Right.
And that was November of, we're in 2015, November of 2014.
Okay.
And everything, I'm sorry, 2013.
13, okay.
Yeah. And so he came home and recovered and went back to work. But this time it was different. This is when he started losing weight.
Okay.
And that cancer became aggressive. And so I would say by January, February, you could start seeing the signs of cancer. This is the first time that we noticed that. There were times I didn't really believe my husband had it.
Right.
Because he kept weight on. He seemed healthy.
Good positive attitude.
Yeah, we traveled. Yeah. We did everything. But this is the first sign that, oh my goodness.
He's sick.
He's sick.
Right.
And so he began to lose weight, and he started getting like a sore on his foot, and you could see the breakdown of his body. And so by May, he knew. He knew that it was coming close.
Right.
So then one day he woke up and he says, I have a stomach ache. And I thought, well, maybe it's a stomach flu or something you ate.
Right.
And he was, I don't know. So we went to the pharmacy, and everything we could find for stomach aches.
Oh.
He bought out everything. It was a sign of denial.
Right.
He bought everything you could imagine for a stomach ache. So he didn't want to go to his regular doctor because he didn't want to get a CAT scan. And so I can remember him saying, well, I'm just going to go to urgent care. He was like running from it. And so he went to urgent care, and then they, of course, prescribed something. So eventually the stomachache got worse, and then it got almost unbearable. So my husband went into his regular private doctor, and she says, no, you need to go in to get a CAT scan. And then the CAT scan showed that it had got aggressive.
Right.
And had spread it to his stomach. So he went in, he was admitted into the hospital. And just like Kenny always was, positive and just upbeat. And he was in the hospital for 7 days. They treated him and sent him home. And then it got more aggressive. And I remember the day when I noticed that he had swelling on his leg. And I said, oh my goodness, you've got to go back. And so he went back in, and he didn't come out. In 8 days, he was gone. Yeah, eight days. But
what was the thing that you loved about him the most? What's the thing that you want to just hold and know that he's there in your heart always? What did he used to say to you?
He told me to continue to trust God. And he told me to never blame God for any of this.
Wow.
On his deathbed. And he told me that I don't know.
Go ahead.
He just told me he was sorry. He was sorry, and he loved me. And those are like the last words that I got from him. So then the next 14 hours, he was silent, couldn't talk anymore. So they put him in CCU, and it got more critical. And so I was able to call everybody in
To say goodbye.
Yeah. And I asked him, I says, Kenny, can you give me 2 more smiles? And with everything he had.
He did?
He did. Yeah.
All right. So when you think of your husband, and you're thinking right now, this is good. Okay. So I'm so proud of you, because a lot of people think that this is not okay, and this is totally okay. In fact, you have to do this. You have to do this. Tears are the disinfectant that keep your heart soft.
Yeah.
Okay? And there's nothing wrong with missing him. There's nothing wrong with thinking about what happened. But what I'd like you to do is think about the I love you and the smile, right? I want you to think about more than the process with which all that went down. I asked you to be specific, but you don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
You don't ever have to go through, well, then we went here and then we went there and then, because when my father passed of lymphoma, it was an 8-month process. And I don't think about the 8-month process.
No.
I don't think about, him saying, don't come to see me in the hospital like this.
Yeah.
Don't fly to Canada. All I think about, what I think about? The thing that I got to do with him, which I know you did with your husband, was sit with a lot of memories. And I actually, one of the balance tools that I use when anyone is terminally ill in your life, that that they are, going to transition at some point, is to write a book, is to actually write a book that has, you taught me this, or my favorite memories of you are this. And those are the things that you pass on. I pass on to my daughters. I try on the anniversary of his death. It's not a death, it's a passing, number one. And I love what he said about don't blame God, because people do get hung up on that. Why is this happening to me? I've done, I've been a pretty good person my whole life. Why is this happening to me? And to, if you don't believe in God, that's fine. It makes it harder, I think. But to know that he loved you so much to ask you not to go there, and to give you those smiles. What was his? What is one of your favorite memories with him? Like, what you do? Remember, I asked you on the phone to do this with your sister. What is one of your favorite memories of you and your husband?
There were so many.
Yes. So give me the shortest story one.
Okay. My favorite memory of him is when he would see that maybe I needed to talk about something, he'd say, come over here and sit on my lap.
Aww.
And tell me everything. And you know how many years he did that? I mean, I'm 15, 30, 25. I was with him through everything, through our kids, through everything.
Yeah.
Since, 15. So
right.
We were children.
Right.
Still riding bicycles.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And that will never be taken away. Can't foreclose on that.
Too many memories.
You can't deny on that. Now, the one thing that happens too is people. I've had clients who say, I've met my soulmate. I had a great marriage, and that's all there is. That's all that there needs to be. And I'm not ever. I'm mourning because I'll never have a relationship like that again. And I'm here to tell you, you're right. You're never going to have a relationship like that again. but you will have another relationship. You will have someone else who you'll create new memories with. And I'm speaking specifically to one of my neighbors who I just ran into, who I know is listening today. Ran into her at my nail shop, and she's struggling because she lost her husband, and when you lose someone that you've spent 30-some, 40-some years with, it is easier to say, I've been there, done that, don't need anything else. But you're a beautiful, loving woman who is going to have another relationship when it's the right time, and right time being he's baking in the oven. And the last thing you want to do is keep opening the oven door and saying, "Where are you?" And he'll come out half baked, right?
Right.
So I
that.
was glad to hear on the way up that you are open to another relationship, which is a wonderful thing. Is a wonderful thing. So to process, do you have friends who knew him that you can call and say, I'm just having a moment where I'm missing him?
Yes.
Yes.
Lots
Good.
of friends.
Good.
Yes.
So
yes.
He transitioned, a year and a half ago?
July 8th.
July 8th.
2 days before my birthday.
2 days before. Okay. So you can celebrate his life.
Yes.
On your birthday.
I do.
It doesn't have to be a
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And
when my
that's
birthday
good.
came this last year, this year, it had been a year, and I woke up and I thought, oh my goodness, July 8th, the day he died. I thought, wait a minute, I made it a year.
Yeah.
This is something to celebrate.
Yes.
And I had the best day.
Good.
Instead of having a down day,
Right.
the day before I had the jitters because of the anticipation of that date coming.
Right.
But then when that date came, I woke up and I felt great.
Right.
I never thought I could make it without this man for a night.
Right.
But I've made it literally a whole entire year, and I'm still standing.
Yes. Yeah. You're doing more than standing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So
That's wonderful.
it's okay.
Good.
It's going to be okay.
Kenny is never gone. Kenny is in your heart. Kenny is all over.
Yes.
He's the one telling you anytime you feel like you need to talk. He's the one saying, "Come over here and sit down and talk to me." Right? Right. Good. If you've just tuned in, we are talking with Vanessa about loss and the loss of her husband a little over a year and a half ago, and how she is processing the grief from that loss and then the loss of her sister a few years before that. And there's 2 more losses to come. So if you've just tuned in, this is not a show about loss. This is a show about healing from loss, and that there is, there's beauty in grief, even though it's painful at the time. But it is one of those things in life that happens, and we get to feel our feelings. The beautiful thing about any tragedy is it breaks our hearts wide open, so we have more compassion, more love, more feeling. And thank you for doing that for me, Vanessa.
Okay.
So after your husband died, then your mom. So tell me about your mom, and we'll do the same thing where she died. How old was she?
My mom was 85.
85.
Yes.
And she lived a full life?
She lived a full life. She had 10 kids.
10 kids.
8 girls and 2 boys.
Yikes. That was a lot of kids.
Yes.
And what is the most beautiful thing that you remember about your mom?
Oh, just the memories of my mother. My mother could cook. She's an old Southern woman, and she never, ever let us go without a home cooked meal. And I just loved her.
Yeah, that's great.
She's a great mother.
Did she teach you how to cook?
Yes.
Okay, so
I was
you
the
cook
one in the
her-
kitchen.
Perfect.
I was the one in the kitchen with my mother.
Perfect.
I used to tell her, whatever I need to do to get this process going, Mom, just tell me. And so she always said, out of all the girls, I'm the cooker.
Okay. All right. That's great. What was her name?
Willie.
Yes.
Yes.
And she transitioned when?
March of this year.
March of this year. So did she get along with Kenny?
Oh, she loved him.
Okay.
Like a son. Yes.
So you know they're together
Yes.
on the other side.
Yes.
And this is another, if you believe that, and I choose to believe. Now, I don't have any proof, just like nobody really has proof that there's a heaven. Nobody has proof that there is another state necessarily, although, they're doing more and more studies of those people who have near-death experiences, and the light and that feeling of peace seems to be a common thing, and that's good enough for me. I do know, or I choose to believe, that your mom and your husband and my dad and my best friend Michael and my daughter's best friend's aunt, who just transitioned from the Utah flood, they're all in the same place. Whatever that place is, I don't really care what the label is. I know that I am an eternal being, and that really death is just a marker for another place or another transition. Yes. And I'll tell you why I believe that. I believe it because it makes me feel better. It makes me feel better when death happens. It's you can call it denial, you can call it anything you want. All I know is that the days that I'm on this earth, the days that you're here, you have a unique gift, talent, and ability to use your life for. And that when that's over, we're just somewhere else with that. And I'm setting this up because the hardest one and is to talk about right now is someone who just passed a little over a month ago, right? And that is your daughter. And, the weird thing is that I asked you to come on to talk about the loss of your mom and your husband. And the Friday before we were supposed to tape that show or do that show live, you let me know, you called and said that your daughter died. And I could not believe that had happened. Tell me about your daughter.
My firstborn, when we brought her home, she looked like a doll. She's the most beautiful little girl that everybody would say, oh, she looks like a doll.
What was her name?
Brandy.
What is her name? Sorry.
Brandy. Yeah. She had the most beautiful head of hair. It was just like a Jerry curl when she was born. Aww. Her hair came all the way down to her neck. Mm-hmm. Some people would say, is that your baby?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So.
Because you didn't have the girls.
No.
No, okay.
She lit up a room when she walked in. Everybody knew when Brandy was coming. She started talking at age 4 months. Everyone knows her as a talker. Mm-hmm. She could talk. My husband would always look at her and say, are you ever going to stop talking? She never stopped talking. She was a master on that phone. Actually, the night that she called me she called me from the other room, and she says, "Mom, I can't breathe." That was the last thing I heard her say. And she, even in her death, she was able to grab that phone. That girl knew how to use that phone. She was a 12-year-old teenager, and my husband had to glue the phone down because she just, even before the cell phones,
right?
She was a talker.
Right. How old was she?
36.
36. Yeah. And this is definitely, they do the ratings of the most difficult things in life, and losing a child is definitely the most difficult. And I
used to always brag to people. It's like, you can have sons. I have 2 sons. I said, but your daughter, they don't leave. Mm-hmm. The girls stay. Mm-hmm. My daughter was always present. She was always present in my life. She called me hourly. Sometimes Brian, don't call me again.
Yeah.
She called 4th grade. Mom, she'd go to the nurse's office. She had learned early. She'd go to the nurse's office and say, I need to call my mom. Mm. And she would just say, hey, Mom, I got a stomach ache. You can't come home. Mm-hmm. So she was extremely close to me.
And she still is. And she still is. But you got to be a little bit pissed. She's 36. What happened?
She was diagnosed about 3 years ago.
With?
Kidney issues.
Okay.
So she ended up having renal failure for kidneys.
Okay.
And actually 3 years ago, she had a miscarriage. I don't know if you want to call it a miscarriage. So I've lost a baby. There was a baby too involved.
So how do you not say, I'm being punished?
Because God doesn't punish. I don't believe in that. So, no.
Yeah.
God doesn't punish.
Right.
No.
And there are some people who say that God does punish. The fact that you choose to believe that God doesn't punish makes you feel better or worse? Better.
Yeah, better, because it's the truth.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's a true choice that keeps you in the place
Of hope, peace,
Good.
strength. And it's almost like they both died on the 8th. A year separate. And I just believe it was an appointed date.
You know, 8 is a lucky number in Chinese. It's a homonym for good fortune.
He died July 8th, and she died the following year, August 8th.
August 8th.
So it just seems...
Because anybody else would say, oh, you know, is anything else going to, you know, I can't take any more. What next is going to happen? You know, what have I done to deserve this? All of those things, one of the reasons why you are in the place that you are, which is in a very good place, is because you don't allow those.
No, I would be bound in life. I would stay in bed.
Yeah.
I'd be bound.
Yeah. She hit the gym pretty much right away.
Yes.
Which was really a great thing. And we would chat at the gym in hugs and have the, you know, the tools ready. And you've really, I mean, it's just an amazing thing. Now, to remember, again, using that same memory, what is your favorite thing that you remember, that memory of your daughter, besides talking?
We had a thing about the way we said "I love you" to each other. She goes, "Love you." As I would leave the room, she'd go, "Love you."
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And I don't know if you notice when you watch this after when it goes up on YouTube, you're going to see the beautiful thing about positive memories, the beautiful thing about purposefully raising the awareness of what has passed is you come alive. Jarvis, I don't know if you watched her face. Whenever you talk about your husband, your mom, your daughter, and your favorite memories, you come alive. You release more chemicals, endorphins, the happiness, all of that, and you feel better.
Yeah, you know, Dr. Marissa, I have to tell people, I have to remind people that I didn't die. When this one girl had come up to me and she goes, "I can't believe I'm seeing you." And I thought, okay. I said, I didn't die.
Yeah.
I'm still alive.
Yeah.
And when I woke up from all of this, I looked around and I thought, well, everybody still continues to carry on.
Right.
Yeah, everybody's still on the freeway. Everything's still going. Everybody's still going around. Everybody, I mean, I can't stand up on top of a tall building and say, everybody stop.
Right. Right.
So I can either choose to get up every day and continue to see what God has for me. Now I have to figure out who I am because I put out a lot for my husband and for my family and for my kids. And I did put myself on the side. And so now I am the forefront.
Right.
And so I have to see who Vanessa is. I kind of lost myself. And so now I have to see who I am.
And what would be the top 3 characteristics that you would say you're discovering about yourself? Besides the fact that you're strong and resilient.
I'm a little wild.
A little wild?
bought a Camaro.
Did you
so
buy
I can
one?
drive
Okay.
fast.
All right.
My husband would have probably told me to slow down. But I like to do things a little fast, like drive a little fast. He was like more of a mellow person. Of course, I like to talk. And so I don't have anybody to tell me to, he would just kind of look at me like, you're talking too much. Talking too loud. So those are 2 things. And I'm strong. I realize that.
Yeah.
Even though he was my covering, I'm strong.
Good.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm strong.
That's wonderful. So I know that we actually went right through our commercial break because I didn't want to stop it, but we're going to take a little break to thank the sponsors who made this show possible. We'll be back in 2 and 2. Peace in and peace out.
Do you want more life balance? Are you 88% happy with your health and well-being, your relationships, your livelihood? If yes, do the abundance. If no, and you'd like a life balance tune-up and align those head, heart, spark plugs and smog check the BS belief systems that are clogging your lifelines, contact Dr. Marissa, the kinder, gentler Dr. Laura at www.4balance.org for a session on the air or a private one on the beach.
Looking for a rejuvenating getaway? Then Salt Oasis is your answer. This holistic wellness center allows you to escape your worries while absorbing nature's healing properties. Salt therapy has been a trusted way to help individuals suffering from a wide range of respiratory and autoimmune disorders to skin conditions and anxiety. Salt Oasis is conveniently located in Rancho Cucamonga near Victoria Gardens. Call 909-291-7258. That's 909-291-7258 and plan your escape into wellness. We're going back in. And welcome back. You are tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa. And today we are commemorating the 4th year anniversary of the Seal Beach Salon shooting, not highlighting the facts of the case or who's to blame, but looking at healing from loss, healing from tragedy, and that there are some ways to keep us from healing by marinating in the pain or not processing through the pain. So we are blessed to have Vanessa here, who is a client of mine, who was actually a caller a couple of years back when her sister passed, and she's gone through some major transitions with her husband, her mother, and just of recent, her daughter. And we've been talking about the positive memories and just the beauty that happens when we remember not the last day or the last month or the last breath necessarily, but the entire lifetime that we all get to enjoy of different people, and remembering those stories instead of the last moments to help us with that. So what is helpful? What is helpful when you're going through pain that you have discovered about yourself? That when you're feeling sad, what do you...
I reposition myself.
Okay.
So if I'm sitting in a chair and I start zoning, there's this zone you get, and you kind of like try to lose yourself. If I start feeling the pain, I just change up. I'll go outside, I'll go in a different room, I'll do a different activity, and I notice that helps a lot.
It does. But you still let yourself at times feel pain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's...
I don't stay there.
Yeah. That's the key.
Yeah,
that is
there.
definitely the key.
Yeah.
There's an extreme of some people who just like, that happened, I couldn't control it, I don't want to deal with it, and so I never feel. I just don't feel. And then what usually happens is you can do that only for so long, and then it comes out the sides. So the life balance, the life balance process says, when you're feeling pain, and the pain that you feel from the loss is absolutely normal. You should feel it. And my prescription actually is, especially for your daughter, to lose your daughter at, a young age, and to have that happen. And it happened 2 months ago. So this next year is you be very, very kind to yourself. You be very, very gentle with yourself. That when you're feeling pain, you just pick up the phone and you say to someone, I'm having a memory, and I miss her so much, and do you have a little time? And you let yourself cry.
I do.
You absolutely let yourself cry, because that is part of the healing process. You have to cry.
Sometimes I feel like if I cry too long, I won't stop.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about that for a second.
Okay.
We all have what we call the little black hole that's in front of us, that we feel like if we go in there, we're going to be like Humpty Dumpty and break into millions of pieces and never get out. The reality is you will never not get out. You cannot die from grief. It can feel like it. It can absolutely, when my father was dying, and I was watching him die, I thought my heart would break open and never, ever come back together. But the reality is, when we feel sadness, it's not a pleasant feeling necessarily. Good. I'm so glad you're feeling this. This is so good. It's good. You will not fall all the way through. You will not.
That's the fear.
That's the fear.
Yeah.
And
I
fear
can't get
is
back out.
false evidence appearing real. Okay. And especially, your husband sounds like someone like my dad, where you felt like you could fall into him, and he was your net, and he was your safety. And I know a lot of people who've lost husbands and fathers who played such an important, catch role. That's the hard part. But I promise that you will, fall into the cradle of who you are. And that cradle will wrap you in a warm blanket of worthiness. We're not here to get punished. We're not here to suffer in loss. Loss is just temporary. It's just a transition. We will reunite in some way or manner. But the key is to feel that loss, to feel the hole, but know that there's a bottom to the hole. And once you stop, that the tearing, and if you let yourself get a full-on cry, if you really, really, cry, you know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. It releases that energy so that you can have room for other stuff. But so many of us get infected. We don't want to let it go. We don't want to cry. Now, I'm not saying that we should all cry at work. I'm not saying that we should be crying when we're driving because we can't see where we're going. Yeah. But there is a time to really heal. So if you know of someone who is going through a loss, the best thing you can do is not necessarily say anything, but just hold them and just encourage them to cry. That's another part of our society, that we're not comfortable with people crying. And so I know as a kid, if I started crying, my dad would go, it's okay, stop crying, stop crying. So, and then boys don't cry. And so crying has become this, thing that we don't do. But when in actual fact, one of the best speakers I ever saw in the world, I don't even remember her name, but I can remember in the middle of her speech, she was talking with passion about the loss of our society and connecting. And she started tearing from feeling that. And I thought, how beautiful that she can be not embarrassed and not apologize for feeling pain.
Yes.
And that's what you're doing. And it's a beautiful thing that you're doing. And I'm so glad you're not apologizing for it.
No.
Because
No.
because when people say I'm sorry, I don't
cry a lot.
I need to cry.
So when
or
I cry, I have to let it happen.
Yes, and it's a good thing, and it's a
Yeah.
good thing. So that's great because that will help disinfect anything that possibly gets infected through pain. You will not fall forever. You will reach that point. So let yourself cry, and then the redirect. I think that is one of the best tools. Is we don't want to marinate in our pain, and the one practice of going, every anniversary, going back to a tomb or going back to whatever it is. I don't go back to where my father's because he's not there anymore.
Yeah.
I honor my father's memory by teaching my children what he taught me, by telling them stories of how he was to me, by doing something. Your husband was very clear on what he asked you to do in memory of him. What would your daughter want you to do in memory of her? What would she want you to do?
She had wrote a letter to me, and she actually posted it on Facebook, how my husband was so proud of me and how I continue to keep our traditions. And I did Thanksgiving, I did Christmas, I still made their cakes on their birthday, even though it was just the years seemed so long. But I continue. She says, Dad would have been very proud of you.
Yeah.
And she would want me to continue.
Yeah. Yeah.
She
And
would.
that's what you,
She would want
and
me to
that's
continue.
she had 36 years with you, and you were an amazing mom, and she recognized it, and nothing and no one will ever take that away from you.
Well, I still have 2 sons and 4 grandkids.
There you go. So you got your hands full.
So if I were to quit, I would be quitting on them.
Yes.
And they've already had a lot of loss.
Yes.
So,
Yes. So balance
yes.
your role in comforting and allow yourself to be comforted.
Yes.
You're strong. That's the side where, that's why I wanted you to come and process. And thank you for sharing your story and your pain on the air, so that I know so many people who are tuning in who have gone through loss can learn and also celebrate with you that there's more to loss. It's called life, and love is eternal. Love is eternal.
I believe that.
We don't ever have to, love never dies. Life is eternal and love never dies. I heard that on Sunday at Agape, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing to remember.
Yes.
So thank you,
I believe
Vanessa.
it. Thank you so much.
You win Dr. Marissa's Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award for the month because
Thank
you were so courageous in coming to
Thank
share
you
your
so
pain
much.
and
Yes.
sharing your inspiration. You're doing just fabulous.
Thank you.
Yes. All right, we'll have a little bit of applause here. And it's that time of the show, the Balance Bar, where I let you know what's going on and how you can come and meet me. Actually, did I mention Sue Wong's fashion show? Yes, no. I went to Sue Wong's fashion show yesterday. It was fabulous. She's going to be coming on as a guest in December. And so hello to all of the folks that I met there yesterday to Open Fashion Week. And this week, tomorrow, actually, I'm speaking my third of my trifecta of valuing diversity work for Edison. For those of you who thought I was Swedish, I'm actually Chinese, and it's a little bit of a story of how I went from being teased and Chinese, Japanese, dirty knees, look at these, to a full circle of being very proud of my Chinese roots. And so I'm speaking on to assimilate or not to assimilate. That is the answer tomorrow. So if you're ever interested in valuing diversity and having me come and speak in your organization, please do let me know and message me at forbalance.org. On the 21-day fast from complaining with Dr. Marissa, today is day 6, and the balance tip for today is look for the good. Find the good. It was perfect timing for this show. Put on your life jacket with a silver lining instead of staying in your menopause. For those of you who are in that age bracket, instead of menopause, I call it menopause. The man's version of that is IMS, irritable man syndrome. So if you're having either of those, join the 21-day fast from complaining, and you'll get the daily tips. And if you think you can go 21 days in a row, please register and let me know, just like Janina did and Eva from Kentucky. Then they get a free pack of my motivational cards, 52 card pick-me-up, stacking the deck for life balance with Dr. Marissa. So that's a great life habit. If you haven't heard of it, or if you'd like to donate to the app that I'm making to support it, go to gofundme.com/HRAXLO. And I appreciate that. And finally, I have an Asian Oprah giveaway today of 2 tickets to a fabulous play that was we talked about last week in my first ever Virgin Women's panel on my sexual healing with Dr. Marissa. So if you missed that, go to my YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, tune in anywhere to find that show and have a look at it. It's a fabulous episode. We talk about just about everything, but we do have Sonia Jackson, the director and producer, gave me 2 fantastic tickets, free giveaways, and I'll tell you a little bit about the show in this little promo. Thinking about your boobs or having a boob job? Before you do, come and see Conversations About the Girls, a play that examines a woman's relationship with her breasts and how it's changed by the world around her. The 10th anniversary celebration production of Conversation About the Girls is October 23rd to the 25th, Friday at 8, Saturday at 3 and 8, Sunday at 3. Go to conversationsaboutthegirls.com or Facebook About the Girls. That's October 23rd to 25th, conversationaboutthegirls.com. And if you would like the 2 free tickets to that show, be the first to go on my Facebook and message me and say, it's all about the boobs. And then you'll get those 2 free tickets. All right. And next week, we are having, it's that time of the week, the second week of every month, we have Dr. Marissa, the kinder, gentler Dr. Laura, where we do a tune-up, a balanced tune-up of your life tires, and we smog check your BS or your belief system. So if you have questions that you would like to ask Dr. Marissa about your relationships or your job or career or your health and well-being, please contact my assistant producer, Jarvis Essex, on Facebook, and he will line you up so I can be the kinder, gentler Dr. Laura, and you don't have to wait on hold. So we'll see you next week for another fabulous episode of Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa Pei. That's P for positive, EI. And remember, it's all about balance. Peace in and peace out.
We found the problem with your car.
And
Turns out the carburetor differential modulator is out.
what?
And while we were digging around in there, this thing fell off.
Stop. There's no automotive repair nightmares at Diego Martinez's 5-Star Automotive in San Bernardino. 5-Star Automotive, where you'll get a great experience, and home of the $15.99 oil change. That's right, just $15.99. They specialize in transmissions, brake repair, AC, and many other repairs, all with a lifetime warranty on parts and labor. Diego knows when your auto needs 5-star attention, it's never convenient. He offers a 12-month interest-free auto repair loan on major auto repairs with no money down. He'll even throw in free towing and a 10% discount for his neighbors in the 909 who work for the city and county of San Bernardino. Call 909-387-0770. That's 387-0770. Your neighbors at 909 West 2nd Street in San Bernardino.
Like to spend a few days in another world?
Then write this down. Golden Bear Cottages, Big Bear Lake. Now, listen, this is not some corporate-owned operation. It's family-owned and operated by some real nice people. Unique? Oh, you bet. Golden Bear Cottages features 28 one-of-a-kind cabins on a 5-acre historic site. Great for families, couples, and groups. And cabins are available with 1 to 7 bedrooms. Golden Bear Cottages is just a stone's throw from Big Bear Lake and super close to 3 great ski areas. Now, I could go on all day about Golden Bear Cottages in Big Bear, but to see everything, just go to goldenbear.net. Again, goldenbear.net. Golden Bear Cottages in Big Bear. Clean, comfortable, and affordable. Check them out. goldenbear.net.
This is 10:50 a.m. KCAA Loma Linda and 106.